Director, as NeuroAmp integration solidifies our market dominance, securing our diplomatic reach demands an elevated standard of transportation. Per your directive, we fast-tracked procurement of the 390R Kobayashi, the latest addition in our expanding corporate fleet and your primary executive transport. The partnership you've established with Lindan Engineering continues to pay major dividends. Well done, Director. We adhered to your request for security and privacy. The lower deck serves as the guest reception level, providing you with a dedicated space to host, negotiate, and entertain on your terms. Your guests enjoy world-class hospitality below, but the main deck is tailored for you. High-level Ryujin operatives such as yourself are expected to travel in total comfort, even on unsanctioned assignments, which is precisely why the exterior profile houses military-grade countermeasures. With a dual-phase jamming suite and reinforced ASC hull plating, your business remains secure. The propulsion suite has been finely tuned for load efficiency and range, delivering the jump capacity required to keep your busy schedule uninterrupted. Should diplomacy fail, modular hardpoints and automated turrets dismantle threats long before they become liabilities. Pre-flight diagnostics complete. Priority launch clearance granted for Kobayashi 390R. Given the sensitive nature of our expansion into New Atlantis, this operation requires your personal oversight, Director. Secure the Neurocom pipeline and ensure Ryujin's interest comes first. The board values your performance. Warning, proximity breach detected. Defense protocols engaged. Weapon systems engaged.
What's going on, captains and shipwrights? Welcome back to LEC Star Yards. In this video, we're building the 390R Kobayashi, which is a luxury star yacht for Ryujin VIPs, and it's quite possibly the most decorated ship that I've ever built. Thanks to the ASC Taiyo Mod, this ship can be built on any platform with zero compromises. Now, the Kobayashi's design isn't really inspired by anything in particular. My goal here was just to build a Ryujin-themed ship and let the ASC Taiyo parts basically lead the way. Whatever I was working on started to look something like you'd see in Star Wars, and so I leaned into that direction, and I started to build something that I imagined to be more of a diplomatic-themed vessel, kinda like the J-Type 327 Royal Naboo starship, or the Consular-class cruiser, both from the Phantom Menace. Now, to keep this in line with the Ryujin theme, it made sense to build this out as a yacht for VIPs like executives, ambassadors, and clientele to use at their own discretion. And I imagine a megacorp like Ryujin would have a fleet of these at their disposal, kinda like a fleet of private jets. At 66 meters long and 38 meters wide, it features a no-ladder layout with a 4x1 lower deck and a 5x1 upper deck. This actually provides quite a bit of interior space, and the reason for that is because I use micro-components from various mods like the Eta-2 Actus Jedi Starfighter mod. You could say this is cheating, but I wanted to prioritize interior hab space for this build. So if you want to use regular sized components, you just need to swap out some habs to make room. Now, this is a luxury ship, and with that comes somewhat of a hefty price to build. There's some component and weapon differences depending on platform, but overall, it's going to cost a little over 700,000 credits to build this. Weapons and components typically eat up most of the budget, and that is especially the case with this build. For example, the two Matilia turrets alone take up more than half the budget. Aside from credits, you're also going to need Rank 2 in Starship Design and Rank 3 in Piloting, which are needed in order to install the ASC Taiyo engines and shield generator. I'm also using one set of weapons that requires Starship Design 4, but again, weapons and components are interchangeable, so just use the ones that you prefer or have access to. After that, you just need to swing by New Homestead to acquire the NG-15 and NG-20 landing gear. Then you can build the rest of the ship at an outpost landing pad. Of course, if you have mods that unlock all the parts at specific locations, then you're good to go as soon as you meet the skill requirements. Speaking of mods, let's segue into what's required. Outside of the typical ship optimization mods that you usually need for my builds, the only two mods that are required for this build are ASC Taiyo and Tiger Shipyard's Overhaul. Everything else is optional. Now a quick word on ASC Taiyo. Well, I'm just gonna say it. It's now my favorite ship mod. Many of you probably have it already, but if you missed it or if you've been on the fence about it, it's the latest release from Whizziker and it's available for 400 creation credits. Wiz brought a massive inventory of new parts into the game, and what's crazy is, almost every single part has a flip or a rotation. That is some insane attention to detail that gives us builders so much creative freedom. Between all the greeble options, cockpits, and engines, which you'll see heavily featured on the Kobayashi, there's just so much flexibility here. What's cool is Wiz implemented a sequential part system that helps to create a clean and fluid design overall. There's a certain set of parts and panels that have a lettering system to indicate an order of placement. When placed in the right order, the parts are designed to flow smoothly from panel to panel with zero gaps. Now, one thing that's easy to miss is that some of these parts have different shaped variants that fall under the same umbrella name. So when you look at my parts list, you'll see various panels or caps that may appear to be missing in your game, but if you swap the variants, you'll eventually find the right parts. I'll do my best to let you know when you need to switch variants for the appropriate parts, but keep this in mind because this is going to factor into the build process for the Kobayashi. Now, I won't go over every single part here because this isn't that kind of video, but a couple of other things that I want to point out are the in-plane spacers and the textures. First, the spacers. So Wiz has graced us with a pretty legitimate hab-snap alternative called in-plane spacers. These are flat pieces that can give you a 50% offset between parts. While hab-snaps offer a range between 25 and 100% offsets, as well as 6 points of snapping, like a typical 1x1 part, these spacers have rotations, so you can also do some diagonal offsets to mimic what you can do with hab-snaps. Honestly, this is such a game changer. One other thing that I want to point out is the textures. There's just something about the part textures that makes your ships look really good in all sorts of lighting conditions. There's this subtle weathering that's applied to all the parts that makes your ships look like they belong in the Star Wars universe, and it's also incredibly well done. Wiz, if you're watching, thank you for continuing to support the Starfield community with your amazing talent. Really, man, please know that you're greatly appreciated, and I cannot wait to see what you have in store for ASC HopeTech. Okay, now that is it for the mandatory paid mods. I do use ASC Deimos for the single frequency scan jammers and Bad Tech Subspace Warfare for its Deimos belly cargo hold, but obviously those are not integral to the build. Any mods used for components and weapons are also interchangeable, so choose whichever ones you prefer. Because I prioritized hab space, I used a combination of micro components from the Ada 2 Actus Jedi Starfighter mod from Election IS and CHI Ship System modules by Jackson Cross. For PS5 players, you're just going to use the Ada 2 components since CHI hasn't been ported over yet. Everything else that's required are mods that you should already have by now if you've been following my builds. And if you're new, just make sure that you always have these mods that are listed in your load order because I'm always going to be using them one way or another. I believe that is it for everything you need to know about the ship. This is an easy build overall with some very light merging. The ASC Taiyo parts really carry the overall build, so whatever I added was meant to just enhance what Wiz provided us with. Step-by-step instructions are always provided, and I'm going to be chiming in and out throughout the build and during the interior tour to provide additional instructions and details. But always remember, if you have any questions or if you get stuck anywhere, feel free to reach out to me in the comments. As usual, we're going to be starting off with the landing bay. This is going to be an aft entry ship, and you're going to want to use a 2x1 landing bay with door entry. If you want to use a small landing bay like the Taiyo shipbed, then just add a 1x1 hab in front to give it a 2x1 length overall. For PS5, you can use the landing bays from Owltech Nautilus, Stroud Premium Edition, or the Taiyo shipbed with a 1x1 hab. For Xbox, you can choose any of those options, but we have a wider selection thanks to mods like One of a Kind and Deck Corp landing bays. I'm only showing a few options to avoid redundancies here, but ultimately, I went with the Aft-Oriented Stability Pro landing bay from Deck Corp, along with the 1x1 workbench hab from more utilitarian 1x1 habs. Whether you use a standard landing bay or a smaller one with a 1x1 hab, the rest of the fuselage is the same. I'm going to be using a 2-story hab from Stroud Premium Edition, so that leaves me with a 2x1 section left for the lower deck. To artificially add crew capacity, I'm going to be using an empty Taiyo control station mid that I've decorated to be the passenger deck. Now if you have the extra 1x1 hab because you're using a smaller bay, then add a Deimos slim docker underneath it. But if you're using the typical 2x1 landing bay, then add the slim docker anywhere in front of the stair hab instead. Now because the stair hab also occupies a 1x1 spot for the upper deck, we're left with a split 3x1 and 1x1 section. Again, I wanted a mostly custom interior, so I'm using an empty 3x1 engineering bay and an empty 1x1. And because the 1x1 is off by itself, I'm using this as an executive suite, while the 3x1 section is for crew and admin duties. Alright, so I'm going to chime in again because this is where we start using the Seiji panel system from ASC Taiyo. For the written instructions, the ASC Taiyo parts are italicized so you can hopefully see them a bit easier. Now the Seiji panels are designed to give you a seamless look as long as you follow the lettering convention. Some parts, like this Section A corner panel, are great for rounding out various edges, and that's what we're doing to the top hole. Next up are these larger Section B side 2x1s, which follow the curve under the Section A corner panels, but these have a tapered curve going from side to side, so you want to follow this up by using a Section C side 2x1. Next are the Section C corner panels. Now these have 5 different variants that each have their own flips and rotations, but we're just going to be using the first variant, which we're going to align directly with the Section D top. We're going to be using the first variant of the Section C corner panels again, and this time we want to attach 2 together before attaching them to the side of the ship. We want them to snap right above the portholes. Now, due to the size of the Corona B400S engine, it's going to partially clip into the rear landing bay. If you use a smaller bay like the one that I'm using, you're going to see it clip into the ceiling and into the top edge of the door. It's barely noticeable, and even less noticeable with the regular size landing bay because it just clips at the front edge, so the door is untouched. Now I'm fine with this because landing bays are just loading points and the clipping is barely noticeable. But if this bothers you, just use a regular size landing bay to minimize the issue. We're going to be using port, starboard, in-plane spacers next, so make sure you have the right position because the spacers don't have snapping points on each face. It has one snapping point designed to attach to an initial surface, and then another snapping point facing the opposite direction to attach another part at a half step. Just play around with them for a bit if you're confused by this, and you'll understand how they work pretty quickly. Now we want to merge the NG-15 landing gear directly into the pylons that are holding the nacelles. But since these spacers don't provide any available snapping points at this position that they're in, we have to use the select plus shift merging technique to snap these landing gear on. The most important thing is to make sure that the NG-15 are leveled on the Z-axis, which is the height level. Attaching it to the exposed upper deck hab at the front of the ship and removing it is going to set it at the right height. So we can duplicate this landing gear to have our mirrored set, then just place them near the nacelles and then highlight the entire ship and shift it towards the NG-15. You just want to make sure that you align the NG-15 where it needs to go into the pylons and then they'll snap into place. This is called the select plus shift merging technique, and we're going to be using it a few more times in this video, so make sure you have a good grasp on this, but I'll be providing text instructions anyways, so no worries. Now everything else after this is pretty straightforward, so I'm going to dip out for now and then I'll come back during the final changes section and then the interior tour. But don't worry, the written instructions will still be on the screen, and if you have any questions, shoot me a comment with the timestamp and the platform that you're on, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so the only thing that I wanted to mention here is that this was actually the original design that I had for the ship, but after some initial pictures and B-roll footage, I realized how badly I had lined up the panels leading up to the cockpit. So to wrap up this build, we're going to give the ship a bit of a rewrap itself. It's just a few simple changes, and then once we're done with this, we're going to go on to the interior tour. Now, let's take a look inside the Kobayashi. Since this is a luxury yacht, the main thing that I wanted was to avoid ladders. So this ship features a 2-deck no-ladder layout built almost entirely with empty habs. I wanted to see how far I could push a luxury build, and a corporate yacht felt like the perfect fit for a Ryujin-themed ship. This easily ended up being one of the most detailed interiors that I've ever decorated onto a ship, which is pretty ironic because, if you're familiar with my builds, I prefer flying around in clunkers and freighters over something sleek and luxurious. Now, we're going to enter through this aft-facing Stability Pro landing bay, which is available through Deck Corp landing bays, and it opens directly into a 4-workbench hab from more utilitarian 1x1s. This is going to be one of 2 pre-decorated habs, and I call it the PASS module, which stands for Primary Access, Security, and Service. Outside of being the primary entrance for the landing bay and docker, it serves as an airlock, a maintenance hub, and an armory for onboard security. Because it packs so much utility into a single 1x1, decoration space is pretty limited, but I did manage to fit 4 suit bays along with weapon racks for 6 long-range firearms and 6 sidearms. Remember, this is a corporate yacht, not a mercenary or military ship, so this setup is strictly meant for the onboard Ryujin security to calibrate their equipment and service their weapons. Moving past the entrance is the main lobby, which acts as a grand foyer and a cargo hold for the ship. This is a 2-story staircase hab from Stroud Premium Edition, and underneath the central staircase, we have a functional cargo area. It's packed with containers and luggage sets to maximize your storage capacity. Across from that is a large display case that's kind of like this focal point for this whole entire lobby. It's made up of pre-decorated shelves that I kind of merged together, and a couple of them have these mannequin displays so that you can show off suits or apparel. I also wanted this ship to have an atrium or a botanical area, and since space is limited all around, the stairway hab was the best place to try and fit this all in. Now the staircase hab is also pre-decorated, albeit very lightly. Outside of the orange-colored plants, pretty much everything else that you see in here was added in through various decoration mods. The staircase hab was the first one that I started to decorate, and it really helped to set the tone for the rest of the interior that you're about to see. The next tab is an empty 2x1 control station that I've split up into 3 distinct sections. It starts with this hallway or den area that has a lavatory and a single guest cabin. Outside the executive suite and flight crew bunks upstairs, this is the only passenger sleeping quarter that's on the ship. That's because this ship is built to transport executives and clients from point A to point B quickly and comfortably. In that sense, this Kobayashi is designed more like a private jet than a private yacht. But I feel like a ship like this should have at least one bed to accommodate at least one passenger, and so that's why this little cabin is here. Moving past the den, we enter the ship's main lounge. On one side, we have a massive couch that spans the entire side of the room, with seating for up to 8 if you can squeeze in tightly. Across from that is the continuation of the aquarium from the previous section, along with a fully appointed wet bar. With mini fridges stocked with alcoholic beverages and Ryujin's own tranquility beverages, along with a beer tap and wine storage, hosts have a great area to entertain guests and clients. Now, all of these beverages and dispensers that you see are functional, and they dispense the appropriate drinks that you see into your personal inventory. Any decoration mods that I use are going to be listed in the info cards that pop up. Next up is the passenger cabin, which also doubles as an executive conference room. You have 11 total seats split up into 3 different zones. At the center is a conference table with seating for up to 7, and this is flanked on each side by additional lounge seating. While this is the primary cabin for any passengers on board, it also serves as a secure space to hold meetings and discuss top-secret R&D projects. As a result, the room is fitted with hidden surveillance equipment, because no one does corporate espionage quite like Ryujin. Now I gotta say, I am pretty happy with the way this room turned out. My goal here was to turn a passenger cabin into more of a usable business lounge, and so this is the layout that I came up with. As you can see, I went pretty heavy with the plant usage because it helps to evoke that feeling of luxury, especially on a ship. But more than anything, it covers up a lot of that empty wall space, which can make an interior space feel pretty cheap if it's too abundant. Let's head back to the lobby and we'll go upstairs to the main deck. Now, like I said, this was the first hab that I decorated, and since it's just a staircase hab, I was just gonna slap some decorations together and call it a day. But the moment that I added these 3 monitors underneath this Ryujin dragon, something clicked in my head, and it helped to establish this balance of a cold, modern corporate look with this classy, luxurious feel that I tried to push throughout the rest of the ship. As we get to the upper deck concourse, we have additional seating for guests and security. Now if we head towards the aft section of the ship, this leads directly into the executive suite, which is tailored specifically for the ship's owner or the VIP host. The suite opens into a sectioned off living area with its own minibar and a seating area for 2. Just like the bar below, all the drinks here are functional and they dispense drinks into your inventory. Now entering this door is going to lead us into the bedroom suite, where we're immediately greeted with another aquarium and a king-size bed. Space is admittedly pretty tight in here, but you do have countertops to store or display items, an en-suite bathroom, and a mannequin to display some clothing. I would have liked to do a custom bathroom in here, but again, the space was pretty tight, so I was forced to compromise here and I just settled with the Taiyo bathroom module from Furnish Your Fleet. Having a tight space like this for what should be an executive suite may not pass for a private yacht, but I think if you had a room like this on a private jet, it's a completely different story. Okay, now let's head back to the upper deck concourse and head forward this time. This will lead us to the rest of the upper deck, starting with the formal dining room. The dining room can seat up to 6 on the main dining table, along with 2 additional jump seats on the side for flight attendants or personal assistants. When the passenger cabin below is fully occupied, this formal dining room can also be used for additional seating, or it could be used as a private conference room away from the other guests. And just like the passenger cabin, this formal dining room is also equipped with hidden surveillance to record meetings, because this is a Ryujin ship. Past the formal dining room lies the chef's galley. It's fully equipped for an onboard chef or longer trips, while on shorter legs, pre-prepped catered meals can be served by flight attendants. I imagine a ship like this would have enough food and drink storage to last for about a month at a time, depending on crew and passenger capacity. Past the galley, we step into the Combined Science Lab and Medical Bay. A proper executive vessel requires top-tier emergency response, which is why this space includes a dedicated quarantine unit for handling injuries out in deep space. But, in true Ryujin fashion, this room goes well beyond first aid. It's a fully functional lab designed to synthesize pharmaceuticals, manufacture performance enhancers, and calibrate neural amp integration for critical operations. As we continue forward, we hit the technical core. Here, the crew can monitor ship diagnostics, plot jump routes on the holotable, and manage encrypted communications. For a Ryujin vessel operating in corporate intelligence and espionage, having its own dedicated servers and comm relays is essential for routing sensitive data back to Ryujin HQ. After the technical core is the crew quarters, and it features 4 single bunks plus a full lavatory for the onboard crew. Now, while the ship technically has enough secure seating to squeeze in around 35 people, the realistic max capacity is somewhere around 25. That accounts for the host, 11 passengers in the lounge, and a full corporate support detail, which would include personal security and assistance. Now, I didn't spend too much time decorating this area. I just wanted to make sure that operational flight crew had a bed to sleep on and that gaps were filled. That's why you see things like the laundry machines over here. It's an awkward spot, but they fill up this empty space very nicely, and there was also nowhere else to put these anyways. And last but not least, we have the bridge. There's a pilot seat and 2 additional seats, one for the co-pilot and one for an additional passenger. I didn't do too much to the bridge because it's kinda hard to add decorations in here with the way some of the fixtures are, but you are going to see me use this cockpit quite often, so I'll figure out new ways to customize it for future builds. Alright, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Like I said before, when it comes to ship designs and roles, I usually prefer rugged, utilitarian freighters, but I think this build completely flipped my perspective on all of that because I just had way too much fun with this yacht build, and I really have to thank Whizziker and ASC Taiyo for doing a lot of the heavy lifting with this ship. Honestly, I'm having such a great time with this mod, so my next few builds are going to be featuring it pretty heavily. I may just pump these out with shorter trailers so I can get through these builds a bit quicker because I still have a huge backlog that I really need to get through. It's just, the past few months have been pretty crazy for Starfield, right? Like, we had the update, we had the DLC, and then for shipbuilding, we had a ton of new part mods and updates. Pointer handle issues aside, this wave of content has been very distracting for me, but like, in the best way possible. Anyways, it's a great time to be a Starfield fan, and I am so glad to see this game listed as one of Bethesda's core IPs with Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I still believe in the potential this game has, and whether it's Bethesda who leads the way, or the modding scene, I think Starfield's in good hands. Thank you very much to my 2 channel members, Night of Abyss and Neon Dystopian. I'm going to work on some additional content for you guys, but just hang tight for now because My schedule is going to be pretty busy for the next 2 months, and it doesn't clear up until around mid to late September. And for everyone else, thank you for continuing to tune in. As always, feel free to reach out to me in the comments if you have any questions or build requests, or if you just want to chat, all things Starfield and No Man's Sky shipbuilding. This is Lindan, signing off. See you in the Starfield.